Yeah, before you had the sales training, what challenges have you had when you had kind of a sales talk with your clients before we started the sales training, sales talk training?
Yeah, my biggest problem was that I was able to generate leads and get some ads from social media to work, and I got some people that filled out the forms and their contacts and numbers and details, and I was supposed to call them, and and everything was supposed to happen on the call, because even if you have the lead, the person is interested in my service, it doesn't mean that they're gonna close themselves on their own. So something needs to be discussed on the phone. And very often I found that I didn't know what to say. Basically, I completely haven't had idea how to structure. I didn't even know that there is such a thing as a structure for a phone call. How should it flow? I just had the feeling that it's not going well, that something I'm not expressing my ideas correctly, and of course people were not signing up. So that was the real manifestation of that. I couldn't pinpoint exactly what was going on. I just understood that it wasn't going very well from my feeling, and what you did helped me very much finally to understand that there is such a thing as to like sort of a I wouldn't say it a script, but there is kind of a map, there is kind of a roadmap, there is kind of a checklist from A to Z, and certain boxes they have to be ticked. The people have to go through them, and I think also on the part of the receiver, of that potential client, he feels like you are more professional when he's listening to these types of phone calls. So this is basically what was my situation back then before I knew about this system. Yeah.
What did you particularly like about the training itself?
I like that I know what to say and how to build the trust in the first sentences. That was very important and something I haven't considered. Inflections was very, very important for me, at least to understand. I'm still not sure whether I'm able to do it the right way, but it's important that I am aware of it. Another thing that was very important for me was to ask for the permission. I've never asked for that, and to also be able to judge whether the person is able to speak at that very moment, if I have his full attention, or is he driving and just kind of half listening to me? And so basically whether it's a good time to talk. Another good thing was that when something is not going well, and that I basically, to build a trust, that I could name it, like you showed me, that very often when there is something in the air unspoken, and you can clearly see that the person, the client, might be thinking about it, and just by me thinking about what he might be thinking and say that, that was another very important point, because that kind of destroyed the barriers, or that breaks the ice a little bit. And of course, how to build a trust, what you said with those sentences, never use those kind of a full-on sentences with absolutely, definitely, but always go with like maybe, probably, I can imagine. Yeah, I think for somebody listening to this, he would need a proper framing why that is important. But now that I know that I've been through it with you, I understand it in a deep way, why those little small things are so important, especially at the beginning of the phone call. In the first, I think most of it happens in the first 2 or 3 minutes, and and this all leads up to the one biggest question, and that is, can you get him to open up and to start telling you the reasons for why he is considering your program? And once that is done, then you just get into the flow, and the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, you start talking and you start writing down about all the important things that are important for him and not for me, because the reason that I want to sell something, and that I assume that these are the same reasons, that he wants to buy the product or the service from me, very often it's what I found is that it differs. Very often people and the clients or potential students, they have their own reasons why they want to buy something, and you are selling him on the outcome of your service, but actually he cares maybe that's like a secondary point. Maybe he cares about something even more deeper from his own life. So that was, and of course we can go deeper into it. There was a recap to be able to recap the conversation. So I showed him that I listened to him and that I really pay attention. And I mean, the close, I mean, it's everything from A to Z, but there are maybe the point number 3 or point number 6, point number 9. This provisional close, for example, it was unbelievable, because this is what helped me to see that I can really, in that short phone call, I can already start to filter the people who, you know, because when you get people from the cold ads, not all of them are ready to buy. Some of them, they are just kind of lurking around and seeing where you got, and, you know, and maybe and maybe not. Some of them are thinking, oh, is this for free? How much is this going to cost? And there is all, maybe from, I would say from all 10 leads, usually on average, you have 2 to 3, maybe 2 to 4 that are like kind of ready and really considering your offer. And the rest of them, I wouldn't say that they are waste of time completely, but they might be a waste of time in that very moment. They are just not ready. So that provisional clause has helped me also immensely only to deal with the most, let's say, qualified prospects, and to get them basically on a Zoom call and to continue our conversation in the direction of the sale and of starting our program. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds very cool. What would you say, how have your sales conversation improved since the training? And I mean, what is the result of it? Could you see a difference?
Yeah, I mean, the conversation, they have improved. If I had to put a number on it, wouldn't be 100%, it wouldn't be 300%, it would be probably 1000% better than what I was doing before, because before I just didn't know, I didn't even know that I had sales conversation. I knew this, I have somebody on the phone and we are talking, but I guess I can only now, looking back, I can see how unprofessional I guess I was, and naive that I was thinking when I get the lead from the Facebook ad that he's just going to be you know, flying into my arms and saying that I want to buy and pay you 2, 3, or 4,000 you know, dollars or euros or whatever for your service, or Swiss francs. And that's why, you know, all these conversations at the beginning, and I mean, I was like 4 years ago, and the conversations that I have right now, they are like day and night, you know, so this is really massive. I mean, yeah, thank you for that, because that really kind of saved me, that I finally understood how to do that, because like I said before, I just didn't have any idea what I was doing, and I can only assume that this is how I was coming across to the people, and as a manifestation of that was that I wasn't closing, you know, nobody was buying my service basically.
Yeah, cool. Do you maybe have a very cool example where you successfully, I don't know, a specific technique from, yeah, you applied the technique from that training, which you think that was amazing? It's the second last question.
I think it's the whole confidence in all, you know, at the beginning you are so involved because this training has many parts, you know, it's not something that, of course, you can teach me this in, you know, in one day, you can show me some like steps and basic, but then there is implementation, and implementation happens live during the phone calls. And because not all of the phone calls, they go in the same kind of direction, you know, this is like very organic thing, very, very natural thing. You have the map, you have how it should go according to what. And I just remember in the first phone calls, I was, of course, you know, there was another issue that you were kind of teaching it to me in German language. Maybe I was misunderstanding some of it, of the whole system. Like I was just wondering why it takes me a little bit longer to learn it. I think there is some lag from the moment that you receive the information. There is what to do, and then there is implementation, and there is certain period where you are focused on implementation. So this is this step, and this is this step, and this is this step, and I was just kind of for example, I remember for first 10 phone calls or 15 phone calls, I was still being caught off guard that I didn't even realize that that is an objection. Because when you are in the phone call, you are so much in the phone call, it's like two things. You are following the script, which isn't a script, which is a map, but at the same time, that person is barraging you with information, that you need to be able to. And when I was kind of focused on that script, I wasn't following good what he was telling me, that person. And when I was focused on the person, I was not always following the script. Because so it took some time until all of these things, they synced into my kind of a deep memory, like subconscious mind, so that now I know the script, I know the roadmap, and I can freely focus on those students, and I know what I'm doing. Like I'm basically doing two things at the same time as I'm writing, and I know more or less where I am. And that's kind of like a driving car, at the beginning it's, somebody gives you the information and you are kind of like, oh, this is not working very well, and so it takes some time. So, but I have to say that I'm not sure whether I remember some specific cases, but the general feeling that I had from it was that even when I wasn't doing it properly or 100% correctly, according to how you told me, it was still working like 100% better, or I don't know, 500% better, even in the wrong way than anything else that I've been doing up to that point. So what I've realized is some of these things, they are so powerful that even if you just use like just a little bit of it, or at least you get that structure right, maybe you're not saying completely all of these sentences and all of these points you don't follow, you miss one or two here or there, it still works better than than just kind of going at it like naively thinking that it's just a normal conversation at that what I was basically doing at that time, like before I learned about the system. And I wouldn't say that I have some specific cases, but because it was continual development, you get more and more confidence, you get one client, another client, you make a mistake here, you learn, I forgot to say this, oh, I forgot this point, I forgot this, to tick this kind of a point on the checklist. And it's not to say that there are no pre-planned sentences, there is no, it's not so rigid that you have to follow exactly, but there is a certain structure, that certain things that for that person to feel comfortable. And as I was going through more and more and more, and especially this summer of 2024, I've noticed that I was just getting better and better and better and more comfortable. And I was basically, I think also that impression that that my potential clients had was a lot better. I could feel it, that they treated like this is a professional kind of it's not called sales call, it's call. But of course, we both know, me and my potential clients, that we are having a sales discussion on the phone, and it was going way more smoothly. And I was just moving them into the Zoom calls, and there was another, kind of a trust building presentation. And very often, once I already managed to get somebody on a Zoom call, then the likelihood of them signing up was very, very high at that moment. So I had very high close rates. And of course, I was also happy that I had the courage to, when I saw in the phone call in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of somebody who is not the ideal client, let's say, for me, that I had that courage to go for the provisional close, or to push it a little bit harder, and to discuss all of the things like, hey, our programs is for somebody who has the need, who has the time, who has the money. If some of these three things are missing, it's not to say that we can't completely help you, or that I wouldn't want to have a conversation with you on the Zoom call, but maybe not right now if something is missing. And I think that was also a thing that potentially in the past I was you would just accept anybody and everybody, and then you think like you have a good lead, and you have a potential client, and you spend so much time, and you prepare the presentation, you do this, you explain this, and then they ghost you. And probably what happened was that in the first phone call, in those first 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, I could have found out that, hey, this person actually doesn't have the quantity of time per week that is needed for our service to work, or maybe the finances were not working. Maybe he's unemployed at the moment and he's just kind of shopping around. And as much as we would like to help everybody, we can't. There are certain specific qualifications that they need to be in place for them to take our offer, you know. And of course, I'm just happy that I'm kind of being way more efficient and spending time on those Zoom calls with those leads that are most likely to already, you know, move ahead, basically.
Cool, cool. The last question, I mean, kind of rhetorical question, but still, I want to ask you, would you recommend this training to anyone, and why? And maybe also, who would you think could, should attend such a training? What do you think?
Yeah, so for anybody who's kind of thinking about this training, I was a little bit on the fence, and you know, it's kind of considering yes or no. I would definitely just say this, that you should basically do it, and the reason why you should do it is because of the investment. Regardless of what the price of this program is, the investment is so high that it will pay off 10 times more than what you at least, you know, I can't quantify it right now exactly, but I feel like that's what the worth of it is. And even 10 times more is, I'm being very much reserved here, because without it, I don't think that I would be able to sell. Maybe I would be able to sell one or twice somebody, you know, in 6 months, but without the proper structure, proper sales talk, you know, business in general has a lot of moving parts. And if you are inefficient at the sales, it's not very good for you, because you also have operations, you have advertising. And first of all, if you don't know what to say, or even worse, if you think you know, and you don't even realize that you don't know what you are doing, that's probably the worst, which was probably my case. Secondly, there is when you are aware, but you are trying to implement it, you know, and like I said, it took some time for me, and I'm glad that I got through that with your help. So thank you very much for that. It's been really amazing that right now I have that ability. And you know, I kept hearing that the sales is very, very important from, you know, since I kind of wanted to started my own business. I just didn't see the system. Like all I heard from sales whenever I Googled, I don't know, Tony Robbins or Jim Rohn or some other Zig Ziglar, the professional salespeople, all I heard was like kind of a separate sentences here or there, a close, objection handling, but I didn't know how that system works together, that there is from, you know, point 1 to point 9 or to point 11, and you have to go through those things. And it's basically a map, a roadmap, that you know exactly where you are in the moment. So this was amazing. So for anybody, for any professional who, you know, I don't know in which industries, but anybody that needs to generate leads and that needs to build the trust, and in order to sell them their product or service and to serve them, basically, I think that all of those people who have their own businesses or even work for the companies, for the insurance companies, this information is very beneficial for somebody who is completely at zero, because that's where you probably need it the most, because you don't know how to sell at all. But even I can imagine, even if I was doing, let's say, for the big companies that are doing, I don't know, 300,000 or 500,000 Swiss francs a month, I guess there is still a room for improvement, because any improvement there could mean another 50K per month, or another 100K per month, or another 200K per month. So I think it's probably the number one system in the world. This, at least from my understanding, from my own research, I haven't found anything like that. That again, I stress this map, this 1 to 9, those steps that you have to go through. You know, that you are not lost. Like, what am I doing here? Where am I? You know, so if you feel a little bit lost and you don't know what to say during the sales calls or sales presentations, that's definitely for you, and I would definitely consider it and jump ahead there, jump for it.
Cool. Hey, Peter, thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
was a very,
all your help.
yeah, thank you. It was very pleasant also to see now what you think about, and yeah, actually we did good with that.
What was the last part of that question?
Whether you would recommend it, and if so, why you would recommend it, and to whom.
Okay, because it has more
No,
parts. Yeah, like I said, I would definitely recommend it, more than recommend it. I would say you are already losing money if you are not using a proper sales system. So yeah, that's just my opinion, but everybody can think, for themselves what they think. To whom, in my industry, of course, I would recommend it, but I can see that this is in any industry. Anybody who needs to sell something needs to be able to convince people, needs to be able to build trust with people, needs to be able to also efficiently qualify and disqualify, not just accept anybody and everybody. And let's just say you are a real estate agent, and then you are meeting with people and you are having kind of meetings which are pointless because the person isn't decision maker, can't make a decision, doesn't have the money, doesn't have the time, and I just imagine right now in my mind that you are going with your car, driving to a meeting in some kind of for some kind of a building or office or whatever that is, and you don't even realize that you are actually wasting not even 1 hour of the meeting, but the preparation, the organization, the phone calls, the driving back. It's half of the day is gone on a prospect that that basically you could have gotten this information after 10 or 15 minutes on the phone call, and you would have saved yourself 4 or 5 hours, which might not seem like much, but when this repeats each and every day, then suddenly you realize you spend the whole week or the whole month only meeting with people who are kind of talking, and you're talking and talking, and nothing much is happening. Then they're ghosting, and it's not the right time. Maybe in 3 months, give me a call in 1 year, and this is all because of you didn't do at properly in that phone call. Yeah.
Can't even blame them, actually. Is your fault if you do. It is, they just do what they think they need to do, but it's your duty to filter and check. It's not their duty.
I would say what just popped into my mind was that when you have so many phone calls, when you are like the head of the company, or the CEO, or it's your business basically, and you have to make these phone calls and sales calls. You also, by setting up too many presentations with unqualified prospects, with you not being able to qualify them properly, not being able to find out that information that you need, because people just won't mention. They will just go with the flow. They say, oh, well, you didn't ask whether I have money. You didn't ask whether I have time. So they will just go with the flow. And the problem is that when you spend, let's say, when you have, I don't know, let's say 10, 20 presentations per week, and when 80% of those are unqualified prospects, you also, what I found was that I was causing myself kind of a burnout. Your psyche, your mental side is getting a little bit burned out by hearing too many no's. No. And that's also not good for you, because you are having these long, especially when you're talking about cold leads, you might need to spend with them 45 minutes, 60 minutes, 1.5 hours, 2 hours on the presentations. And if after 2 hours of that energy, and these are drags, basically, these conversations are not easy. And you need some rest after that. You can't talk for some time, you need to prepare beforehand for that presentation. So and then if at the end of that you just keep hearing no, or people are ghosting you, you don't feel very good about yourself. You feel really burned out, and you feel like giving up, and that's not very good for you, for your confidence, for your business, so that's another point.
Cool. Peter, thank you so much for your information. I'm very happy that I can share that with others. And we talk to each other in a minute.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.